Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and with Little Blue once again. That's right. We are finally reviewing this one, this Marvel film, Daredevil. That's right. Ben Affleck, before he was Batman. So, what do we have to say about the Daredevil film?
Well, you reached out to me and said, watch this movie. You should give it a watch. Watch the director's cut. And I thought, I didn't see it when it was to theaters, and I never really read Daredevil, the comic. I knew Daredevil existed. I saw the comic. I just never got into it. I may have read one comic when I was a kid.
Right.
I knew the storyline, and I had seen the series.
Years later after the
on,
movie, Netflix.
Played on the CW.
No, Netflix.
Netflix, I'm sorry, yes. The Flash played. Flash
Yes.
plays on CW.
Yes. We're talking about Daredevil, not the Flash.
Right, but Daredevil did play on Netflix. Good series. I watched it to the end. It was a great series.
Mm-hmm.
So when I watched this movie, I was really impressed with the storyline. I really was. I was impressed with the characters. I love Michael Clark Duncan, he's just a wonderful actor.
The late great Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, exactly. Played Wilson Fisk.
/ the Kingpin.
Right, the Kingpin, which Vincent D'Onofrio played him in the Netflix series, and he did an excellent job as well.
So both of them are good as the Kingpin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Ben Affleck did a great job as Matt Murdock.
/ the Daredevil.
A.k.a. Daredevil. Jennifer Garner.
Elektra.
And she was really good in it.
It's where I was just gonna say it's where Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner they met. Fell in love. So
yeah, shout out to Jennifer Garner because she came from our backyard basically. Grew up in West Virginia, went to George Washington High School in Charleston, and is I think an excellent ambassador for the state. She did a great job in the movie. She had her own movie later on, a couple years later, Elektra.
2 years after Daredevil.
Exactly, but she did a good job in this. I think that the storyline went pretty much as the storyline does in the comic books.
Yeah.
This was just a more abbreviated version, but it was well done. The director's cut. I haven't seen the original. I didn't see the original at the movie theater.
No.
So I've never seen the original cut, and this was certainly my first time
I watched
seeing the director's cut, and my first time seeing the movie, period.
Same here. Same thing, too. Watching the director's cut. Because might as well, watch the extended cut.
Sure.
And the others, like Jon Favreau in this film, as Franklin Foggy Nelson.
Yes.
Yeah, and before the MCU, he did a Marvel movie, which was Daredevil.
Exactly.
And
we all have great respect for Jon Favreau.
Oh, yeah.
Great respect.
And to think this was before he did lots of great stuff.
Oh,
even
absolutely.
Even at the same time this came out, he had directed and made a cameo and such in Elf.
Mm-hmm.
The same year that this came out.
Exactly.
That and another main antagonist next to Kingpin, and Kingpin brings him down to New York, and that being Bullseye. Right. Yeah, Colin Farrell. And this is actually the first time he uses his actual accent,
Mm-hmm.
Irish accent, or Colin Farrell's Irish, or
he may be Irish. He's either Irish or Scottish. I'm not really sure.
Not Scottish, but this is his first movie where he gets to use his regular accent.
Right.
Yeah. And do you know anything about Bullseye?
No. I know really nothing about Bullseye.
He's good at with targets, throwing small things even at the necks, and even dodging or catching something from Elektra and Daredevil.
Right, cat-like reflexes and very accurate, has deadly accuracy.
Yeah, and and he has a bullseye on his bald head, forehead.
Yep, he has a tattoo of a bullseye, basically, or it looks more like it's a scar, like it's been burned.
I think so. Yeah, it's a scar. Yeah. And the interaction between Elektra and Daredevil, and not only that, but in some ways Daredevil can sense the presence, and has a different kind of vision.
Right.
Yeah, and
his senses were heightened when he was blinded by the chemical spill. Got in his eyes, splashed in his eyes. His ability to see, he developed a sixth sense, as a lot of people that are blind do. Their sensitivity is heightened, where you and I were more desensitized because we rely on our vision a lot. Once a person goes blind, then they have to rely on their other senses. They have to rely on feel. They have to rely on their hearing and their memory and knowing the way a room is laid out.
Right.
I used to say the late Ray Charles would only stay in Holiday Inn hotels at the time, but when he would travel, because he knew the layout of the hotels. I guess at that time that all their hotels were laid out the same. So that's why he would only stay in a Holiday Inn, because he had memorized where everything was and how to get to wherever. But the same thing sort of in this, except in this it's dialed up about 1,000 times more, because he can literally, as they say, when it rains, he can literally see through the rain because of his senses. It's almost like the way a bat reflects sonar, off objects, bounces sonar off objects to get to their prey. And it's not because a bat is blind. It's just because they have that extra sense,
right?
Where they can zero in on their prey,
right? And I liked the backstory, the origin of Matt Murdock, and how he got blind and such. Mm-hmm. His father was like a boxer,
right? And he turned he turned bad because he not bad, but he did
not bad.
He went with a mob boss. Went along with the mob boss up to a certain point because he needed the money, because it was just him and his son.
Yeah. Never explains what happened to the wife and the mother of Matt Murdock.
Yeah, I think she died, but I can't remember the story behind that. But
no, not even I don't think even the movie says that.
No,
it says no. But go ahead.
But it's clear
Matt Murdock comes across his father, mobbing somebody.
Right, and David Keith plays the part of Jack Murdock, his father.
Right,
and who's a boxer, and he ends up turning into a sort of a hitman, sort of a collector for the mob boss, and does that kind of work just to make money.
Yeah,
because the mob boss has him under his thumb. He's rigging boxing matches, and he's winning all these matches, but it's because the mob boss is telling his opponents to take a fall. Then he asks Jack Murdock to take a fall, and when he sees his son in the audience watching, he refuses to take the fall, and the mob boss, has him killed.
Yeah, and Matt was running away when he saw what his father was doing, and which caused him to go up to where those barrels were, and an explosion happened, and that's where he got blind.
Exactly, and he literally saw his father killed.
Yeah, even though he was blind.
Even though he was blind, he knew he was killed, and he swore vengeance, basically.
Yes, and that's where he became the Daredevil.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
but he uses his vengeance much like Batman, in that it drives him to do good and to seek justice.
Yeah,
and it also helps the fact that he's an attorney, as Matt Murdock. So
yeah,
there's that. But he can also sense who is guilty and who is not guilty.
I was going to bring that up too, yeah.
Because of the heart rate. He can literally hear the heartbeat. So.
Yep. And yeah, that's another thing, because, of course we know Matt Murdock and, Franklin, they're lawyers,
Right.
Hell's Kitchen.
And
as the movie says.
Interesting to point out too that Daredevil's only real Achilles heel, or his kryptonite, so to speak, is loud noises, high-pitched, shrill noises.
Right.
He just loses his senses when he hears it. It throws his senses off. It dulls him. He can't stand it. It's just too much for him. It just overloads him. And of course, we see Bullseye uses that to his advantage. At a couple of points in the movie, because he figures it out. So, but in the end, Daredevil wins, as he always would.
Even at one point, Elektra's father is killed by Bullseye.
Yes.
And she thinks it was Daredevil, but it wasn't,
Right.
She finds out who Daredevil really is. And boy, that escalated quickly. That she seems to be doing okay now, and knows it wasn't him, and so on.
Yeah, it was like when
even after she stabbed him.
Because she knew she knew that she knew when she saw that it was Matt Murdock, when she pulled the mask off and saw it was him, she knew absolutely it was not him that killed her father.
Right. Okay.
Because she had already gotten to know him.
It didn't come to me
on that level, so she sensed it. She knew immediately that he was not the guilty party. He was not the guilty one.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting the way they portrayed it.
It was, yeah, and like Elektra trying to take down Bullseye, but she loses.
Exactly.
And it seemed like she does die, but not really, because I think it's teased at the end of the film, and because that the Daredevil there would be a spinoff, which would be an Elektra.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and I gotta say, the first time they met was pretty funny, especially when they came up to that park, I guess, and had a little fight.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
And they seemed to connected and got along pretty well after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the father of that church, and some chief,
yes,
whoever.
Yes.
Do you see him in the cast? I'm trying to see. Yeah, it's Ben
Urich.
Ben Urich. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember about his character, because of him and his relation with Daredevil,
Mm-hmm.
And did you also notice? Did you also catch this too? Kevin Smith making a cameo.
Didn't catch that. No.
Oh, he was there. And with Ben.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. And at the very end of the film, because Ben was about gonna publish a story,
right,
and almost reveal who Daredevil really was, but he decides to do the right thing and deletes it all, all that he wrote,
because he realizes that if he realizes that Daredevil stands for something more than just an individual. It's a it's not just he stands for justice, and he's doing the right thing, so he knows that he has to protect him.
Exactly. And Stan Lee's cameo in this, did you notice? It was when, because with the young Matt Murdock, and as he was about to cross the street, he stopped Stan Lee, because Stan Lee was looking at a newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of confused, what? I
remember that. Yeah.
And I read this, Stan Lee, he did not like the Daredevil film because he felt it was too dramatic.
Yeah, it was a dramatic film, but come on, it's pretty heavy stuff. You know?
And Daredevil at one point, because realizing he's not the bad guy, remember that thing?
Yes.
And his fight between Kingpin, etc., and killing that guy at the subway station, cutting him in half. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But anyway, so so I think we pretty much covered everything, and even aside from one thing that was going on, they were trying to help get one person who was he was not guilty.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that, and it's at the end, he's not guilty and so on. He's good to go, etc. But aside from all that, Daredevil, it's okay, don't you think?
Yeah.
We enjoyed it.
Yeah, I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Definitely.
3 out of 5 stars.
3 out of 5. 3.5. I'll give it 3.5. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm giving it 7 out of 10. That's good for me. So 7 out of 10 for Daredevil, and
3.5 out of 5 stars
for you.
From me, right?
From you, yeah. And again, 7 out of 10. So that's that. And you guys let us know what you think. If you've seen Daredevil, leave comments as always. Give it a like. And any last words?
Must be off.
He says that for me. We hope you guys enjoyed our review of Daredevil. More reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward. And we'll see you guys in the next video/review. And stay tuned later this week when me and Lil Blue, we will be reviewing, once again, the return of Tony Stark. Take care, and peace out.